Discover how to use creativity for emotional healing and mind-body balance with Vasu Tolia. She's a visual artist, physician, and poet. So Vasu, please tell us, how can entrepreneurs use creativity for emotional healing? Heal Podcast with Lily Patrascu shares longevity and anti-aging techniques to stay young forever, increase energy, overcome addiction, and live your longest, best life ever. Shared by world's most innovative, alternative, and traditional health thought leaders, healers, and doctors. Discover quantum healing strategies to heal your mind, body, and soul.
Well, it's a mindset that one has to cultivate first, that they need something to distract themselves from daily stresses of life. And also to think that you don't need to be an artist to be able to create anything. Creativity doesn't have to be in the form of art. It can be anything. It can be writing, sewing, knitting, music, dance, taking power walks, doing sports, whatever you want to do, that's what you want to engage in, because that is going to help you focus away from your everyday stresses and do something different by focusing on that particular activity. So for me, it can begin with simple creative exercises like playing with color, shapes, textures, allowing my intuition to lead the way. And when I started doing it after retirement from medicine, I was lost. I didn't know where I was going. It was a downtime for me because not everything in life or every day is rosy. But when I started engaging in visual arts, I found myself focusing and forgetting about some of those emotions that I was harboring in my mind, and began to just live more productively again. And as I was healing, I realized that rather than, healing by medicine, which I was doing before me, I can heal via art. And that's when it became more of a passion for me, because I was very interested in continuing my journey of healing, because that's all I did, when I was practicing for more than 40 years as a pediatric gastroenterology. So it was a slow evolution. And the same way, if people try to think that they need to do something different to better focus and align themselves with their mind, then they can do whatever appeals to them. That would be the way I would suggest they handle it.
Thank you. So tell us some examples of creative exercises for entrepreneurs to do in order to activate emotional healing.
Okay, I'll just delve into visual art exercises because that's what I do. They can sit down with a simple pieces of paper, pen, colored pencils, or whatever appeals to them. Like they can just doodle, make mindless scratches and shapes and lines on paper. I mean, whatever they do, they should do for at least 5 to 10 minutes for them to take the focus away from whatever is bothering them, and just create without thinking of any end result. You're not trying to create a masterpiece. It's just the process of distracting your mind from doing something and focusing on something else that's going to help you. They can take, whatever the mood of the day for the person is, they can take a colored pencil and draw different shapes with different colors. Or, you're feeling calm, you can use blue and create different shapes with just the same color blue or different shades of blue. And they don't have to be any particular thing, they can be organic, like which are formless, or they can be geometric, like triangles, squares, and circles. And circles are very calming, as a matter of fact. So if you're feeling energized, you can use red or orange. And you're not feeling so good, you can take a purple. So, whatever color you feel your mind engages into, you can do that. Or you can draw lines, or you can just look around, or you can take words, or cut out things from a magazine or a journal in front of you and take what appeals to you, and just put down those pieces together and see what you can make out of it. And don't look for any end result. It can just look very haphazard to you, but it will be calming.
I've always dreamt of doing something creative with my hands. Although I mean, I like to draw. I like to paint. Although I can't say that I'm very good, but I do enjoy the process. And I remember that for many years I was thinking one day when I have time, I'm going to, create masterpieces. Not not to sell or anything, just for relaxation, because I really I don't think my drawing is very good, but I am very creative. So the thing, the ideas I come up with, I think are very interesting. So I've always thought of, for example, coloring teddy bears. Like they have these teddy bears where you go to like a ceramics type workshop, and then you color them with with paint. Or I was thinking thing that could be interesting is to do something manual where I create a plate or I create something. And I do think that that kind of thing is very relaxing. Now, during the pandemic, I had the opportunity to have a teacher that was in front, like in the house in front, and he was teaching me and the other people I was trapped in the house with for like a month about how to draw. And we did end up drawing some teddy bears based on his technique. And I do find that there was so much relaxation and so much you can say relief of anxiety. And there was, I don't know, there was such a deep pleasure in drawing teddy bears that feels almost like a very childish exercise, but it still kind of worked to get me to relax a lot and to feel a lot better generally about everything that was happening. Because at the time I remember that we didn't really have internet, and it was very difficult to do the actual work that tends to be online. We couldn't really communicate with everyone, and we couldn't leave the country. So there was, so many things that we couldn't do for a long time, for 111 days. And it was towards the end of my stay there that we managed to find this teacher to teach us how to paint. So I did explore that opportunity. But I wonder, are there any special techniques for making the creative exercises work better than others?
There may be, but one of the things is persistence, because you can't just do it for one day and expect to, get a result. You have to set aside at least a couple of weeks to know and to engage in it. And I actually have for audience a downloadable PDF of Creative Mindness, where I give a 7-week short mini course of doing different things every day for like 10 minutes or so they can benefit from it. So there are so many ways that this can be done, but one of the main things is that you have to carve out time to do it. And like I said, it doesn't have to be art. Like, people have resistance in thinking that, I'm not an artist and I can't draw even a simple line and stuff like that. So I think you have to get out of that kind of a mindness and a mindset and just start it. And I keep on insisting on saying that it doesn't have to be visual art. It can be ceramic art, like you said, because sometimes, working with textures and materials, can be very helpful. And that's especially true for neurodivergent individuals. It can just be, you like the smell of cooking and like to spend time in the kitchen, go ahead and do that. That will be your meditation, So it can be any activity that makes you feel happy and better is what would be a mindful exercise.
Thank you. Tell us about you and how did you start using creativity for emotional healing?
I started to use it when I was getting away from medicine, and I knew that I had to find something, because having done practice medicine and healing and having been in research and mentoring and teaching for so long, I wasn't just going to sit and not do anything. So I had to experiment through different kinds of things like music, singing, art. And finally, I landed on visual art, and I found that it was incredibly healing when I found that I was releasing emotions and reconnecting with myself. I had no idea that I had all these hidden emotions in my mind, and it just gave everything a release. And my own transition from medicine to art is something I hadn't planned. It happened, and when it happened, I realized that it was also a calling, an unexpected shift that forced me to trust the unknown. At that time, I really felt unanchored without any structure and certainty after having held a well established, well known personality in the medical field. But as I leaned into creativity, it became my compass, and I learned to lean on uncertainty, not knowing what the outcome was going to be. And I think that's what anchored me. So I would tell people facing transitions that it's okay to feel unsure. Start by paying attention to the things that bring you joy and peace. These clues often, lead us to go forward, what we are meant to do next. And you will just be taking small steps in the beginning. You will not be, like anything, any kind of creativity, sport, passion requires time. You can't just achieve it overnight or in one shoot. There will be failures, so embrace them, but learn from them. Keep your previous career goals and good habits that you have cultivated to be the anchor for taking the next step in your life. And for me, experimenting with colors and textures and all that became little moments which have made me go forward on my path.
Thank you. Tell us where entrepreneurs can find you.
You can find me on www.vasutolia.art. And if you want to connect with me, please send questions because I do these kind of creative things and, give out handouts and things like that. And one of the other things that has happened with me is that this creativity and hobby has turned into a passion. And I use this passion to fulfill my missions, to help with medical research, helping kids with autism, raising mental health awareness, and women's empowerment. These are my missions. So, whatever is purchased through the website, I give a portion, donate a portion of it to the charity of the person's choice that are all listed there. And I just feel very happy to heal through art now because I have pieces in hospitals and colleges and corporations that, like in lounges and all, where people can experience some soothing and healing feelings, like if they are not feeling very quiet and or agitated and things like that, then they can look at it and derive some kind of calmness and serenity.
Thank you. Follow me for more interviews with world's most innovative health changemakers to live your healthiest life ever.